Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. I'm Chuck Kuhn, and I'm making this video to do two things. I'm going to introduce myself and my speaking, and I'm going to tell you how you can do everything I've done in half of the time. I started a social project called 1 Year to Freedom. And my personal belief is that people do not want to get up every day to go to a job that they don't like for 8 hours a day to make just enough money to stay above poverty or sometimes below poverty but not homeless. I don't believe that people really want to go around their life not having the ability to do the things they want, to see the people they want, to go where they want and have the experiences that as human beings on this earth, they should be able to experience. I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel I could do any of those things. I still don't feel, taking action, Aaron Farrell, in the comments. I still don't feel that I have all of those options, but let me tell you what. Since I started this project 6 months ago, I have way more ability to do things in my own life now. I have the money to not go everywhere I'd like yet, but I have the money to invest in things that will help me get there. I have the people around me who are helping push me forward, do things like making this video, taking action on my business every day, holding myself accountable, having goals and schedules, working toward my dreams, and having things in my life that I never had before. None of these things are unique. None of these things are even special. Anyone at any time could do them. What makes me different is that I don't have a hard luck story. Not one. I wasn't born in a dumpster. I wasn't tossed out. I wasn't in an orphanage. I grew up in a nice house with family who loved me, and I went to college. Nothing about that is hard luck. I used to think that in order to live your life and be great, to be amazing, you had to have this story. You had to walk through the grocery store, eating food from the aisles. You had to go around and tell people how you were homeless. You had to overcome some barrier. You had to escape a war-torn country. I thought that in order to get to the highest level, you had to have the struggle from the bottom. And the reality is, that's simply not true. You can start anywhere and do anything. And that means that you can start average. You can one day wake up and say, hey, what am I doing here? Shout out to Adam and Nathan. I'm glad you guys are watching. Thanks, guys. You can start anywhere you want and get to the highest levels. All it takes is surrounding yourself with the people who are going to push you. Now, I have a mastermind group that I'm going to be doing immediately after this video with 9 of the greatest entrepreneurs I know. None of us are mega wealthy yet. None of us have a ton of experience in business yet. None of us are nationally known yet. But all of us have the ability to do those things, and we're taking the steps toward getting them that other people aren't doing. And I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you that in order to get here, in order to do these things, you have to get started. You have to make your first video on Facebook Live. You have to start speaking. You have to listen to speakers every day. You have to get toward people who can help you achieve your goals. People who are going to push you and say, hey man, you fucked up. People who you knock on their door for advice and they'll say, I remember you. I knew you were coming. You have to get mentors. People who can help you avoid mistakes that you don't need to make and can help you recover from the ones that you fuck up. Perfect example is we've all been in relationships that were not right for us. And the true mentors in our lives, the people who knew what they were doing, didn't tell us not to do it. But when we called, they said, I'm surprised it took you this long. I'm surprised you were here and had made that mistake for that long. And then when you get there, they tell you how you can improve it. They help you pick up the pieces, find out what you did wrong, and set you on the path to making it right. Jim Rohn talks about small steps. You take a small step today. You take a small step tomorrow. You take a small step every day for the rest of your life. But what about the next 30 days? If you take one small step toward whatever you're doing for the next 30 days, at the end of that month, you're 30 steps further in whatever you're doing. And just by being that little bit further, you've already given yourself an edge over all of the people that you think are average. You've given yourself an edge over yourself by taking those steps, by taking those actions, by finding those mentors. I was a student of success for years. For years I said, I'm going to read this book and be rich. I'm going to watch this speech and be rich. I'm going to this seminar, and when I come back, I'll be a different man. And guess what happened? Not a goddamn thing. Not one thing happened. You think it would. It didn't. Because I was taking this knowledge, I was doing all of these things, and I didn't apply it. Imagine a doctor who goes to medical school, gets his PhD, graduates with honors, and then he never practiced. And then he goes into the clinic on his first day and he says, well, what am I really supposed to do? Many of us are doing that with our lives. We're going to the school of hard knocks. We're going and paying the tuition to live our life, and we're not applying the lessons. We're not doing things that we know we should in order to get to the point in our lives that we would like to be in. Now, I can say personally that one of my goals is to become locationally independent. That means that I want to go anywhere. I want to pull out my laptop, get a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee, but if I'm going to be able to do this, I might want to start. I want to be able to pull that cup of coffee and watch my sales. I want to watch my marketing from any place in the world. Anywhere in the world, I want to say, today I'm in the Philippines and I'm selling product. Tomorrow I'll be in Rome and I'm selling product. Next week I'll be home for my dinner recital because I've made a commitment to never ever miss anything with my family, because they are the crux of what you're doing with your life. I want to have the ability to do all of these things. And it starts with taking the first steps. Making this video is practice for me. It's allowing me to express myself and to work on my speaking. But infinitely more valuable than that, it's making me take the steps and develop the disciplines. Now, I knew a guy once who was researching an Amazon product, and it wasn't a bad product. It wasn't bad at all. And somewhere along the line, he realized that there was some competition. He wasn't the only one who had found this product. And he said, it's too hard, everybody's doing it. And he quit. Just like that, he quit. He said, I have to move in this direction. He got started and he said, hey, I can't do this anymore. Before he'd ever even applied himself. If you quit before you hit your first failure, how do you know if you could actually do it? It's like taking a class and going to the first day and saying, whoa, there's a lot of people here. How am I supposed to do this? You have to push yourself. You have to keep going. You have to set goals. And most importantly, you have to keep doing it. You can't stop. I have another video where I talk about a man climbing a mountain. And as he's climbing the mountain, he gets 5 steps up and says, hey, I'm a little out of shape. He gets another 3 steps up and says, well, I think I'll take a rest. Then he sits down. And then he decides, if I go 7 steps every day, I'll reach the top of the mountain. He does that for 5 days. And then he sits down and says, wow, what a view. He'll never reach the top of the mountain because every time he sat down, he failed to engage in the disciplines that allowed him to push forward. You can't perform at the same levels and expect to get different results. If you're putting in 3 hours a day, every day on your business, that's a start. It's not a finish. That's a start, but it's not a finish. You have to keep moving. One of my speakers, Les Brown, has the greatest hard knock story in the world, and I respect that. But in today's day and age, any person can become radiant and draw someone to them that can help change your life. When I was a young man, I didn't know anything about women. Nothing at all. I had problems with relationships. Story of a lot of young men. This was not unique to me. Chemistry table. I took a lot of pre-med classes. This was not unique to me. And what I learned by going out and doing this was that these guys who began to develop social skills and learn how you're actually supposed to act and the things that are acceptable in the dating world were learning other things. And once I realized that you could change your social skills, something that's very core to who you are, everything in my life changed. I realized that if you can change something about you, you can change anything. Because people, when they look at you, they don't see you. They see a collection of who you think you are and the actions you've been taking to get and become the type of person that you'd like. So when people look at you, when people talk about you, what do they say? What do you want them to say? What are you doing to change those two things? I've seen many gas station clerks and I thought, hey, he's not going to be here long. He showed up on this planet. He's got things to do. He's not going to be here. This is a detour. This is a pit stop for him. And he's not going to be here long. He won't settle in. He's probably not even going to sit down in that chair. I better talk to him today because tomorrow he'll be gone. Then I've gone into other places, seen other store clerks, and they talk about how they're ready for a change. I learned a long time ago I can't change the people who aren't ready for a change. So I asked them. I said, well, what do you want to do about it? And they said, well, it'd be nice if I could get another job, or somebody told me if I could only transfer to another department. Those are the same things you've been doing, and you're not happy. Why would continuing to do them make you happy? Nobody thinks about that. They think, hey, I'd like a change. And they stop there. They say, I want it. I want it. I do. I want it in the core of my being. Not willing to do anything about it. For years, I read every tape, every book. Never spoke. Never did a video. But I wanted it. I wanted it bad. Nothing happened. When people are ready to take action, they'll find that the voice inside themselves screams so loudly that they have to do it. They have to move. They have to take that step. They have to birth it. I think giving birth is a good analogy. I think that's something we can all agree is something that changes our world. But we don't just give birth to babies. We give birth to ideas and dreams and visions and goals. And in many forms, we give birth to the adult versions of ourselves. We don't have any control over who our family is, but we birth ourselves into who we become. I'd like to thank you for listening and watching, and I plan to do a series of these talks, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes every night, about a different topic or goal. If you have any feedback, if there's anything you'd like to say, if there's any quotes that have inspired you, anything that stirs you at your soul, leave it in the comments. I'm Chuck Kuhn with One Year to Freedom, and I want to make a declaration on this video. I set out by November 1st, 2016 to be making $10,000 a month profit. I intend to keep that promise.